it's like I say, well, I'm only going to watch one or two of them. That's it. I'm only going to watch one or two. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, an hour has gone by and I am still watching
I hate the
YouTube
shorts. I give a thumbs down to every short that comes across my screen. I hate vertical video. It's the stupidest thing ever.
Anyway, everybody, we're welcoming the world right now. We've been in the room for a little while, and we want to say hello. Remember, this is an opinion show, so whatever you want to say, just remember it's your opinion. Welcome to our current event show. It's our 163rd meeting. I'm your host, Jan Landy, and I want to thank our sponsor, soundbroker.com, who has been supplying all of our financial needs to keep this show running. So thank you, Soundbroker. Actually, I'm thanking myself. What do you know? All right, that's enough paid political announcements. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Good. We have a new guest. Will Lewis is in the room. Will is with Second Warehouse, and fine engineer. I met Will, I don't know how many years ago, when he was working for Meyer, right? That's right, Meyer Sound.
20 years ago. Well, I think we probably crossed paths before Meyer.
I believe we have.
We worked with each other at Meyer.
Yeah. And of course, we got Byron in the room, but unfortunately, his camera is not working perfectly because he's an audio guy, and that's where he wants to stay. Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Good. And he's our resident expert. We were talking about the sphere, which is pretty impressive. And if you haven't seen it yet, let me just steal a little bit of this guy's video because it's pretty impressive. And you'll see it in a second as soon as I can figure out. Oh, I see. You can't do that. You can't be full screen and then go to my Zoom meeting. So let me share the screen again. It's just so impressive. I was out last night for watching it where the fireworks were. I thought instead of watching the fireworks, I would go and watch the sphere. And it's huge. I mean, it's absolutely huge. It's, that looks like a planet. It looks like a planet. It looks like it could be Mars or Jupiter or whatever, but they could do whatever they want. But that's a fixed building. And if you look at the video, it looks like the building is rotating, but it's not. And they've announced the initial residency is none other than that band U2. And they were already sold out. I was looking, I actually was doing YouTube search looking for the sphere so I could see if anybody else posted anything other than myself. Yeah, look, do you see on the bottom of the screen, there's cars? So, that's a building in front of that. I would hate to be living in the building that is facing the sphere. It would be like that Seinfeld episode when Kramer was next to the Kenny Rogers chicken,
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, the roasters.
But if you could see it rotates, so the building, it's bright. And what I found out is that they're going to be using the sphere for advertising purposes. So when planes are flying in, they will be advertising to people flying into Las Vegas. Plus, they'll be able to advertise from the Strip as well. So
when's the first show?
The first show is in November. It's to coincide with the F1 racing.
Gotcha.
And so, it was the 4th of July. So, I've seen a million fireworks displays, but I've never seen the sphere before. And that was pretty cool. So we'll throw the link in the chat to that guy's video. It was very cool that he did it. And of course, it was hot. Everybody's hot. Funny thing, just before the show, Fred was saying to me, about the weather. And I looked at my Apple Watch and I saw that it was only, I saw that it was like 90 degrees. And Fred started saying, you're lucky, you kid, it's 96 here, whatever. And then I realized instead of looking at the temperature on my watch, I was looking at my battery percentage. Turns out it's 107 here in Vegas. Josh, what's it like where you are?
Yesterday for the 4th, it was about 92 outside with about 80% humidity. So it was a nightmare. But right now it's about 85. We just had a thunderstorm roll through here about an hour and a half ago. So we needed some rain. So we got some rain, but not enough.
Yeah. So Brian, what about you down in North Carolina? What's the weather? I mean, are you experiencing this heat wave that I'm hearing so much about?
Now the heat wave's not crossing the mountains, although we're got a heat index of 98 right now and 86 outside. But it just really hasn't crossed over. We didn't hit 90 until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which is way late for us.
That's crazy. That's really hot for North Carolina.
And we usually average 40 to 50 days above 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 117 in my car the other day when I got into the car. The thermostat on the car said 117. That's crazy, And it's like, it's interesting because if it's 103 to about 105, it's not really a big deal here in Las Vegas for some reason. But once it gets over 106, the second you walk outside, you feel like you're being baked alive. It's amazing how that 1 degree or 2 degree difference really makes a big difference in the temperature.
Yeah, I lived in Scottsdale for 20 years, so I know the temperature thing. But one time I was at a Jimmy Buffett show there in the middle of June, so it was hot as could be. And he comes out on stage and he goes, yeah, they say it's a dry heat, but a pizza oven is dry heat.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, you get used to it when it's like, but you're right, Jan. As soon as it gets like over, 105, 106, and then if it gets up into the teens, it's just, it's incredible.
Was that show you went to at the old Legend City?
What's that?
That show that you went to see Jimmy Buffett, was that at the old Legend City, not the new one?
It was called something else. It's the amphitheater that's out.
Oh, the one out west. It was Cricket Pavilion originally.
Yeah, it was Cricket. Yeah,
I don't know what it's
Cricket
called
then.
now.
It's something else now.
Yeah, it's changed hands like 4 times since then.
Done a bunch of shows out there. Been to a bunch of shows out there.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, Kurt. Kurt just walked it. Well, he's driving into the room. I could see he's driving into the room. How many shows you've got tonight?
Nothing tonight, but I've got Saturday and 2 states at the same time, and then next week I've got 5 in a row in Bend and 4 in a row in Seattle, and a reggae festival on top of all of that.
Well, I am honored that you would pop into our room and grace us with your presence. Thank you so much. How's the weather where you are? It doesn't look like it's that hot where you are.
It's 82, but it's about 35% humidity, and we got some Canadian smoke going on and a little of our own. So it's kind of unpleasant.
Now, I noticed last week you posted a picture as you were looking out the window, and it looked like there was still snow on the mountains. Was that accurate?
Well, there's always snow on Mount Rainier. Not like it used to be. When I was a kid, it never got brown at all, but climate change has made an impact. So now the bottom part turns brown, which is kind of a new thing around here.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of snow in Las Vegas, especially up in the mountains here right now.
No.
None at all. But it did snow this year, I believe, even though I wasn't here to see it. I heard that it had snowed. It's a funny thing.
Top of Rainier always has its glacier. I mean, it's been there for thousands of years.
It's the same with Mount Hood down here. Mount Hood's not quite as tall. It's just a little more pointy.
Will.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I didn't know you were in the group. How you doing?
Doing good.
I convinced them to join us today. I was talking to them on the phone, and I said, "Hey, you should come in. You never know who's going to be here." But I did promise you. I bet there was some people that you knew in the room.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And there you go.
I know that guy well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like this week, there's not a lot going on, and there's so much going on, but it's all kind of political news and international, bad stories. I was looking for some good stories to talk about, and the best I could come up with is Joey Chestnut, 16 years in a row. 16 years in a row, the guy wins the Nathan hot dog eating contest. This year, he put away 61 hot dogs. I don't know how any human being can do that. I mean, and he's not that fat. He's pretty thin, yet he can. I mean, he must have a detachable jaw or something like that, where he can just swallow these things whole.
We watched it a bit. It's pretty funny. I saw an interview with him, and he really does sort of like a workout kind of thing, and sort of drains his stomach, and like he drinks fluids for a couple of days. And they had a thunderstorm, and that like threw him off his routine, and that's why he didn't get close to his record, which is 78, I think, or something like that.
Holy crap! That's so much.
I only-
That's so much sodium and so much nitrate.
You'd have to come up by me, Jan. We used to have an event up here called Brat Days because we have Johnsonville Brats up here, and they used to have a brat eating contest. And I think one year the guy put away 42 brats in, like, I forgot what the time was. It was a short amount of time, but they just eat the broth. It's insane. I can't do it, but
I literally
double
had
the size of a
one.
hot dog.
I had one hot dog last night, and I hardly ever eat them, like once or twice a year, and I haven't felt good all day. So I don't know how you eat 7.
No, I'm telling you, there's all those chemicals in those hot dogs. I mean, first of all, it's sodium crazy. There's so much sodium in there because
Well, I
that's
got
how
the
they
kosher
do it.
ones. I got the Nathan's, which are probably as good as it's gonna get.
Nathan's is not kosher. Nathan's is just from New York. Nathan's, is
Ballpark.
I don't believe they have kosher hot dogs at Nathan's, but it
Ballpark
could be.
Franks.
Well, like
Ballpark Franks.
in 1,000 years, they'll dig up Joey Chestnut, and he'll still be completely intact.
Like a mummy without the shroud.
I had to. So when I was in high school, right, I was in a band, and I came in at the beginning of the year, like right before school, to kind of help sort out all the marching band uniforms and stuff, just because I was a TA and it's kind of my thing. And so this guy I'm working with in the big closet room where they kept all that stuff hung up, he was eating a Twinkie and he put it on the shelf. And at the end of the year, 9 and something months later, we were tasked with putting everything away. And the same guy found the Twinkie, and other than a little bit of dust, it was 100% as fresh as it had been the day he put it down. It hadn't turned hard. It didn't fold. If it wasn't covered with a layer of dust, it would have looked like it had just been put there.
Well, I will tell you.
I've never had a Twinkie since.
I would tell you that if I was on a touring band, that would be on my rider. You have to provide Twinkies. Screw the green M&Ms. That's it. Give me some Twinkies. Could you? I mean, have you been to a state fair where they fry the Twinkies and they fry everything? They fry cheese. They fry Twinkies. Everything is fried. Everything's fried. Josh, you must have them out where you are, right?
Oh, you don't even want to know what they all fry up here. They fry anything you could think of. They deep fry it and put it on a stick.
They do deep fried butter.
Yep, deep fried butter, deep fried pickles, deep fried brats. If you think
how could somebody seriously? How could somebody eat deep fried butter, a stick of butter that's deep fried, without having a cholesterol heart attack, like right on the spot?
Who knows? I never tried it. I never will try it.
It's crazy. That's crazy. That's
I know
crazy.
they do ice cream, and I always figure, now how do you get deep fried ice cream happening? It must have to go fast.
No, they put it. I've actually seen them do it. They powder it with. They had the ice cream, and they put like some type of powdery substance around it to keep it from melting, and they put it in, and it hardens.
Wow.
It's a weird unique thing. I never ate it, but it's interesting watching them make it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, they probably even deep fry sushi there, right? That's probably what it is. I like to tell people
I want to be a
that
bit
I've had
surprised.
sushi once. Yeah. I've only had sushi once. I took it home, put it in the microwave. It was great. I have to tell you, but Kurt's dying right now. They're dying.
Jan will be here all week. Try the veal. Sip the white.
Anyway, speaking of being here all week, I'm hoping that I am going to be here all week. But there's a horrible story in the news that remember Fukushima? Well, evidently now the radioactive water is now overwhelming them in the building, and they finally have gotten permission. And I don't know who's given them permission to do this, but they're going to start to dump the excess water in the ocean. And right now, I don't know if you know this, I didn't know it either, but all the Japanese fishermen, when they go out and fish, they have to come into a radiation checkpoint where they check all of the fish for radiation.
It's like, I think the only people that are protesting against it are the fishermen and the Chinese.
That's interesting. I wonder why.
Approvals from all the other countries and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it might be changing the way fish act, although whales are not fish. There's a lot of orcas have been attacking boats in the European waters. If they would have done that before we had big boats and big ships, we would never have been able to transfer ourselves from one ocean to the other.
Those are Putin-controlled AI whales.
Oh, is that what it is? It's the AI whale. That's right.
Well, I just saw an article today that there was sharks swimming. I think it was down in Florida, swimming right up to the beach. Like it was like a tourist spot somewhere. I don't remember where in Florida, but there was a tourist spot and people were in the ocean. All of a sudden, sharks decided to come swim up to the beach or get as close to shore as possible, and you could just see people running out of the water. So something's going on.
There was a great video of the shark coming into the beach. It was still in the water, but it was swimming towards the beach. And all the people standing out of the water on the beach started running the other way.
I think I saw the movie. I think it was called Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the people have the upper hand once the shark's on the beach.
Yeah, I think.
So Kenny,
it's a shark.
You sure that movie wasn't Deep Throat?
Yeah.
Hey Ken, I just had some of your gear roll through my gig last week with Jason Isbell, your desk, and a bunch of stuff.
How'd they do?
They did great.
So everything worked and everything's fine. We got this electronics and you got front of house, right? You were doing racks.
You had a set of SXLs and I think it was all the stage stuff was from you too. I just did stack the rack and the opener.
Yeah, we just put electronics and stage packaging out usually. Got a bunch of those.
Yeah. First time I've had your stuff come to them.
Hey Ken, do you got anybody coming to Life Fest in Oshkosh with your gear at all or no?
I have no idea. I don't look at all schedules. I've been out of town for almost 10 days and I just got back today. It's been like brutal. Everybody asking me questions. I got Kelly Clarkson in prepping and other stuff going on. So it's just been, I got another tour leaving Friday and Elevation Worship leaving next week. So it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, because we have
why don't you tell people where you were, what you were doing? Because it's kind of interesting that you've been doing this for a long time.
I was in Anaheim doing Harvest Crusade, but this time we did it in the Honda Center in the round with way too much LED wall and lighting. You know, those corporate people want to go overboard on lights and video. So, and unfortunately, they wanted me. I had to go high, so in order to leave, it took me 6 hours to get out, or 5 hours to get out because of the height of everything.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of loadout.
So Oshkosh, is that the air show you're talking about? It's up there, isn't it? Oshkosh?
No, that's the EAA. That's at the end of the month. But right now, it's starting tomorrow. We have that 4-day Christian conference series, Life Fest.
Oh, okay. That's usually CTS or
Okay.
Blackhawk does it. Oh,
yeah, I didn't know if
there's another guy in Minnesota too that does a lot of Christian stuff too. ReachCom.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if that was something that you got into or not, but
I'm trying not to do so many festivals this year. It's brutal.
Well, we could leave them to CLAIR, right? So what's the news on CLAIR?
Yeah.
What is the story with
CLAIR
sound
don't
image
know.
and CLAIR?
CLAIR is buying everything in the world. They're only going after audio only companies. They don't want to cross over into lights and video.
That seems really unusual that they would do that and leave that much money on the table, because they have so many lines in the water right now and so many hooks into so many production managers that I'm surprised that they're just, but to a coup for them to buy Sound Image. That's pretty amazing. They took 8th Day a couple of years ago, and now they have Sound Image.
Well, they took 8th Day, ATK, Scan, what was it? Not Delicate, but the company up in San Francisco.
It'll come to you.
Well, they bought Pro Media.
Pro Media, that's it.
Yeah. That was
They
after
buy-
that was after Pro Media split from Ultrasound.
Didn't they buy Maryland Sound years ago too?
No, that was Maryland Sound hadn't been bought. Maryland Sound bought Northwest Sound back in the day.
I haven't heard Maryland Sound's name in a while. Are they still in business? Is Bobby still in business?
Where's our Northeast representative?
He's on vacation this week, I don't know.
I thought, well, doesn't Maryland Sound, aren't they the ones that usually do New Year's Eve in Times Square? Or is that someone else I'm thinking of?
Must be somebody else, because they're out of Baltimore. They do the Baltimore and the Washington, D.C. area.
They do a lot of stuff
yeah.
in the mall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
'cause
did
they
a
do
lot
that-
of mall stuff.
Is that Firehouse that they do the inaugurations and all that? Is that them?
I think so. I
thought-
think Firehouse.
Well, I knew Maryland Sound had done a bunch of stuff with the inaugurals.
Well, anyway, what else is going on with people? I mean, has anybody been to the movies this season at all? I know I haven't.
I'm going to see the Indiana Jones thing in a couple hours.
I hear that he's old. I hear Harrison Ford is old.
He's old.
I went and saw Elemental or Elements or whatever it was. It was okay.
Who's in that?
It's I don't know who's in it. It's the Pixar animated movie.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Disney's
Fire
not doing so well.
Asteroid City.
Disney's kind of getting hammered on releases, not doing so well in the box office the past year.
Yeah, I would think that the next movie that I really, which will probably be a must see, is that Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. That new movie looks like it's pretty much, off the hook. But I hear it's only part 1, and some of the movies now are doing like Fast and Furious 10. It was only part 1. They're gonna have to do Fast and Furious, 10 and a half to catch up. There's another movie that I want to see, Denzel Washington. And I believe it's called The Enforcer. Is that what it's called? Anybody?
Well, didn't
So
he
Ken,
do-
what are you going to be doing for entertainment this week?
What am I going to do for you? What? Run that by me one more time.
What are you going to be doing for entertainment this week?
Well, let's see. The Tour de France started. Kind of keep an eye on that. Let's see. We got the British Grand Prix on F1 on this weekend, and then for the most part, I'm just kind of chilling, trying to do things around the house that I got to do. I got to cut down some branches that came off the trees while I was gone.
You've got Wimbledon this week. Wimbledon is going hot and heavy. That's that they have some good players this year. I was watching a little bit of it last night for a while. It was
So I got a bigger question for you guys. And I was asking this question at LA, and everybody looked and well, maybe, but is the writer's strike really over residuals and payments there, or is it over AI taking their jobs?
Well, from what I understand, it's about a lot of things. It's mostly about the streaming revenues that they're not getting. And they want a piece of that. They want a piece of that streaming revenue. Right now, AI is not something where AI can take over doing writing that would be, let's say,
Well,
plagiaristic, because basically AI is stealing everything from everyone on the web, and that's been a big problem. They're starting to get sued for scraping data from everybody, and they're using everybody's data and regurgitating it, even sometimes with their trademarks still on attached to it.
Well,
so we'll see what happens with that.
I understand was it people that basically, if they have a series, they can take a series and have them learn it and then write the next series. And
it hasn't been done yet. But well, I mean, you know, there's nothing that says it can't be done. I mean, there's a lot of AI coming in, but what I'm reading is that the more AI jobs they have, it's creating more jobs for people in certain skilled areas.
The other problem is AI's been doing doctoral thesis, and there's big controversy about who earned it and whether we actually have that, how they can stop it. You saw that the Grammys won't allow AI music nominated for anything in the Grammy stuff, but they did leave the door open for like collaborations, like what McCartney's working on with John Lennon, AI John Lennon.
Well, now that they're using AI, AI cannot copyright anything. So basically there's no royalties in AI. So I'm sure there's going to be some, unscrupulous producers that are going to start using AI so that they don't have to pay royalties. Companies.
There was a song, was it a song released in April that sounded like Drake in The Weeknd?
Yeah.
And then it got an uproar.
Yeah, but people were able to tell that it wasn't. But the big thing is that now with this deep fake and the artificial thing, of course, we really have to worry about what we're going to see, because now you really won't be able to believe what your eyes are seeing, because they have it down and they're getting it closer and closer that they can actually take somebody's voice, clone it out. And I mean, there are websites right now that you could do it. It's not perfect, but the more they perfect it, the more it's going to be perfect. And eventually, you're going to hear somebody say something that they never really said, but it is AI, and they're going to have to denounce the fact that it was AI. But yet, how are they going to be able to prove that it wasn't them? So we're going to see that happening soon enough.
I was on LinkedIn today, and I didn't read it, but one of those articles rolled by about a software company that's actually working on software that can identify AI. So, and deep fake and that kind of stuff.
That's only if they impregnate it with the metadata of AI. If they don't, then there's no way that they're going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
But
the thing I heard with the writers' strike is that it's rewrites. A lot of their money is made on circling back around and readjusting a show or redoing a scene. And they really think that that they can just sort of show AI the show, and AI will just come in and go, okay, bang, 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 and throw out a rewrite in the matter of minutes, if not seconds.
Yeah, I use this app called Grammarly, and it's a free add-on. You can actually pay for it as well if you want to get more in depth, and it attaches to Gmail or anything Google. And basically, it reads everything you write, and then it gives you examples of how to make it better. Yeah. And a lot of the things that they give me back is completely incorrect. It's completely incorrect. Yeah. Because they don't understand my profession, when it comes to gear or speakers or boxes or anything like that, they misconstrue that as a different word.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect yet by a long shot, but you know, as they start to develop it more and more people put more resources into it, then eventually it's going to be something that could be a tool, or it could be, you know, an enemy of the people. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
of course, you know, going back to what was the name of that company that in the Terminator? Skylink. You know, Skylink. We all have to worry about Skylink. You know, oh my God.
Skynet.
Don't we have Skylink already with Elon Musk?
Yeah.
That's Starlink. Did you also hear about? I heard bits and pieces about, but the UPS is threatening to strike too. The delivery company.
Yes,
Anybody hear
UPS is threatening to strike. They want air conditioners in their trucks, and I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either.
That was resolved on Monday. They've averted the
Oh, that
strike.
was.
Yes, it was resolved.
Another
Yeah, I
thing
just
is that
heard
the Canadian ports are shut down, and there's $19 billion in products sitting on ships off of Vancouver that would normally be destined for the US. It just goes through Vancouver, and they don't see any end in the strike. The dock workers and the longshoremen, the Canadian dock workers and longshoremen, are on strike on both coasts.
Now that's deadly for electronics. And I had an experience like that when I first started Soundbroker, is that we sold this is how far back it was. It was a PM 3000, and we sold it to Japan. And I videotaped it, and I'd sent them everything that they needed to see, and they paid for it. And then we shipped it by boat. They wanted to ship it by boat. And when it got there, the Japanese dock workers went on strike, and that thing sat in the docks for 2.5 weeks. And when they finally opened it up, all that sea moisture and sea air had gotten to it, and it had corroded all the electronics.
Well, I think you can only get one PM 3000 in a container too. That was a heavy
Yes.
board.
Yes, so for now on, you know, from that moment on, everything that we shipped overseas had to be by air. We wouldn't ship anything anymore, you know, anything anymore by boat. That's how it worked. You know, that's why I didn't do a lot of international work, because it was so expensive, and especially with speakers, because speakers have magnets in it. It's considered dangerous cargo.
Yeah.
So
What? Really? Magnets?
you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, because of the heavy magnets, the neodymium magnets, or that most of the speakers use, basically can throw off the navigation of a plane system,
Yeah, the compass. Yeah, it makes sense.
and so it's considered dangerous cargo. But evidently, they do have a way around it, because they do ship them by air. So there you have it. I don't have a lot of stories today. The student debt thing, you know, I'm really against that student debt relief thing, because I had to pay my student debt. Nobody was there. I'm telling you, they know those debt collectors from the student debt. They really know how to track you down, boy. They can track you down. It was like I had disappeared off the face of the earth, and there I was in the woods of Santa Barbara when I got a phone call. Hello, yeah, hey, you owe us money for that student debt, that student loan you took, you know. So I just really feel it's so unfair, man, for people to get debt relief from that. I mean, I can understand maybe some sort of workaround where you don't have to pay it that much, but it is a low interest loan as it is, isn't it?
Yep.
But it's still
Yeah.
got loan with interest and stuff there. But the thing we ought to fix is, why do you need to have a 13th grade? Why can't they do a 3-year college instead of, like Europe and stuff have 3-year universities, instead of doing 4 years that you learn the same stuff you had to take up in high school again? And that would save 25% of the cost of education. And then start talking about, instead of raising money for endowments and for building buildings, why don't they put more percentage of what they raise and what they have and get out of endowments for scholarships in people that they want at the school, so they can look good? Because when you talk about some of these schools that got like 40 to 50 billion dollars of, you know, of assets, endowments. And what is what is the dividends on that? Why isn't that being used on top of what they're charging at 40 to 50,000 a year per student?
Well, the college's cost has gone up 2 to 2.5% the rate of inflation faster in the last 10 years. So why is that outpacing inflation?
And
That's
a lot
a
of
good
universities, the average salary of the professors is like 250 to 300,000 a year.
Well, if they get people to think, then they're probably worth that. But I didn't realize there was that much money in college professorships.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I might have went into that profession myself.
Basketball coaches in the Class A are $1 to $2 million a year salary.
That's nuts.
How much do you think they're paying the University of Alabama's football coach?
Yeah, then they get tenure.
I don't know how much. What do you think? What do you think they're getting paid?
I think salary from the school is like 10 million.
Holy crap!
And then all his
That's a
endorsements.
lot
on
of
top
money.
Yep.
And then they have, if I'm not mistaken, some of these colleges have their own team jets too, to jet their players around.
That went away after the Night of Tears.
Yep.
At Marshall and the University of Evansville both sort of killed that.
They had their own jets.
Yeah, so well, it wasn't their own jet. Marshall was on a private airplane, and so was the University of Evansville. And Marshall lost their football team. University of Evansville lost their basketball team with plane crashes. So almost none of the schools will fly private jets anymore because they go on commercial.
Delta has a whole series of built out planes that does nothing for contract flighting for sports teams.
Yeah, I know. My wife was a America West flight attendant, and she worked some of the sports planes, and they're configured a little differently with better leg room and not quite as many seats.
The NBA, I believe, has 10 planes that they use to fly their teams, and only their teams can fly on those planes. And that's the reason the schedule's built around the airline, shuttling teams back and forth. But that came back to haunt them a year or two before COVID, because all of a sudden they had a flu bug that got stuck on one of the planes, and it just kept getting circulated from team to team because it was in the air system of the airplanes.
Well, I thought now that the air system, the ventilation system in the airplanes are par excellence. The way they say I guess they've changed them around.
Well,
filters and blowers.
Yeah, the HEPA filters, and they
you
put
said.
that up. But this was a contact virus, so it was not doing the wipe down of the seats and stuff that got them.
Oh,
Because literally, they might drop a team off of Miami, and right before the team was the visiting team, and they pick up the team that was playing that night and fly out of Miami to wherever. And so it was, they weren't getting them sterilized on the inside between teams.
Interesting. Very well. I'm glad I'm not a pro basketball or a college basketball player. Otherwise, I could have come down with a disease. That's a good thing for me now. Glad just check that off my bucket list of things I wanted to do. That's it. Go on. All right. Well, we're coming near 45 minutes of chit-chatting. And if there anybody that has anything that they want to say, now would be the time.
Did you guys already talk about the Chicago Dwayne passing or dying of electrocuted?
No. So first of all, tell us who he is.
Dwayne Dubinsky was originally from Canada. He's been in Nashville for some years. He ended up buying Third Coast from Bruce Spothard. He had a Myers rig, has a Myers system, and renamed the company to Dwayne Rocks. And he's done a bunch of different things, whatever there, but he was up in Chicago doing grandstand sound for the race and came through he got electrocuted. They said it was a medical emergency, then it was electrocuted. But he can't tell anything of what happened, how it happened, and I haven't seen anything in any of the trade magazines about it. Didn't know if anybody knew anything.
I haven't seen anything in the trade magazines either about it, but I have heard about it.
Well, that race in Chicago, I know had a lot. The NASCAR had a lot of rain issues. I was watching part of it this weekend. Every time I tuned in, it was either raining or just got done raining, and cars were sliding out and hitting the wall, and there was flooding everywhere. And to me, it didn't look like they were having much success down there with the street race for NASCAR.
Well, it happened like 10:30 or 11 o'clock on either Friday morning or Saturday morning. I can't remember.
Yeah, they got like more rain in Chicago in like a few hours than they usually have for most of the year. It just dumped.
Yeah, I mean that race used to actually be used to be right up by where I live, about 10 minutes away from my house. There's a big racetrack, and that's where that NASCAR race used to be for years. And then Chicago said, "Oh, well, we're going to do this, this, and this," and so NASCAR went down there. But I just talked to a buddy of mine that actually works at the track, and what he was told is expected to come back in the next 2 to 3 years.
I think I think they're contracted for a 3-year deal.
If I'm not, I know it's 3 years. It was 2 years guarantee with the option of the third year is what I was told. I never saw the contract, but that's what I heard from a friend of mine that works at this racetrack that they used to be at. Is that NASCAR signed a 2-year deal with Chicago for 3 years, but 2 years are guaranteed. And after 2 years, if they want to do a third year, they can. If they don't want to do a third year and go somewhere else, they can pull out and not have to worry about losing money.
Yeah,
Also
I'm
saw a
looking
thing-
right now. I'm looking right now. He was working on the Chicago street race for NASCAR.
Yep.
And basically it doesn't say anything except he was electrocuted
Wow.
by Grant Park.
The only thing I can figure is that he's either had a lift or a boom or a truck or something like that, and he hit electric line and it got him. Because I
Yeah,
can't.
that would be, you would think that he would be a little more careful about that.
You never know.
Let's see.
So I
I'll
just
look at
also
numbers.
read that over 100 people got injured at that Red Rock show where it hailed.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a thunderstorm that came through there, and I guess, they didn't give the crowd any warning. Nobody got any warning. And all of a sudden it started coming down. And of course, Red Rocks, there's nowhere to really go
Nope.
if you're in the audience other than to your car.
When your car is down the hill.
That's a walk. That's a walk down the hill.
Yeah. So I think everybody just sort of scattered, but it was golf ball size hail.
Wow. That's really big hail.
And a lot of people just got big welts and pelted, but 100 people had to go to the hospital.
Wow. Well, that's the danger of going to a concert when it's hailing. That's all I can say about that.
But we had that up here a couple. We had that up here a couple of years ago. We had an event called, I think, Country Thunder, which is in the south part of the state. And there was a girl. I don't know the whole story, but it was raining and thunder and lightning out, and she went to pick up her phone. I don't know if she was trying to make a phone call or whatnot, and she was getting up by her head, and lightning struck her phone, and it took her almost 9 months to recover. But it destroyed her. It cooked her phone and everything. It was some weird. They said it was one of the rarest things that would ever happen, where the lightning bolt hit her phone. It was during this country event, and it took her almost a year to recover and get back to a totally normal life.
Wasn't Country Thunder the one a couple years ago where they had the storm came through and the stage got pushed back on top of the trucks and buses parked behind it? And I think it was what was the company? Premier Global.
I'm not 100% sure, but that would be about right.
What is on your t-shirt, Josh?
My Taylor Swift t-shirt.
Oh, geez.
I had to wear it.
You went to
Did
the
you-
concert, right?
Did you go to the concert? Were you inside or outside?
I did not make, so the closest one was Chicago, and I wanted to go. I was online trying to get tickets, and I couldn't get tickets. And then some friends of mine were going down to stand outside the stadium, and I was about ready to go, and then I had a family emergency come up, so I had to stay back for that first night, and then I was going to go down the second night, and by that time I was just too tired. I'm like, and my friends were basically shooting videos back and forth to me, so I'm like, I'm like, someday. But right now, when she goes down to South America, they said standing tickets now next to the stage are going for $1,000 up here, are going for about $150 down in at one of her shows down south. And now they're saying people from the U.S. are actually trying to get tickets and fly down to South America to see her shows because they're so much cheaper down there.
Well,
and apparently the
it's very
stadiums
possible.
are bigger.
Did anybody see the farmer that was cutting the thing in the field so that when she flew in, she got to see the, I don't know, whatever it was. It said
It was like
Taylor
a
or something.
Yeah, I saw that. It said welcome to I think it said welcome to Kansas. He cut like something that made it look like her face or whatever, and it said welcome to Taylor Swift to our state or something like that.
Right. I think it was in Kansas. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because that's her next show is I think Kansas City, Missouri or Kansas City, Kansas.
Well, her tour is like a juggernaut. Wherever it goes, it sells out. Not only does it sell out, but it sells out the parking lot. From my understanding, thousands and thousands of people who can't get into the concert go to hang out in the parking lot.
Well,
But here's the
and
thing.
Minnesota-
With
Minnesota,
Taylor Swift,
One second, one at a time.
with Taylor Swift, I was just reading an article and saw something on the news that every city she's been in, hotels have been booked out, restaurants are packed to the capacity. I forgot what city she was in, wherever the Final Four was. They said they had double the people there for Taylor Swift than they did the Final Four. So wherever she's going, she's boosting the economy. Like she's bringing, they're saying she's averaging over 100,000 people showing up to her show every night. That's 70,000 in the stadium and another 20 to 30,000 outside in the parking lot. It's literally insane.
That's a phenomenal. That's just phenomenal. I don't get it myself. Brian, what did you want to say?
Well, in Minnesota, they were arresting people in the parking lot that were sitting out there because number one, that was inside a dome, so you couldn't hear the concert in the parking lot. And Minnesota said that they weren't putting up with the tailgaters. So if you didn't go into the concert, they were going to arrest you if you were in the parking lot.
That is so anti-American. Unbelievable. So
Well,
anti-Taylor Swift.
That was done on a safety reason because they couldn't get emergency personnel in and out of the facility.
Well,
Makes
Nashville, it
sense.
was nuts because they did 3 nights in Nashville. On the Sunday night, when there was a big storm came through and lightning, and it didn't start until like 11 o'clock at night. Around there,
I heard she got a huge fine for ordinance violation for that one for Sunday night.
I don't know. I don't think those people are. But Nashville was nuts too because we are the bachelorette capital. And do you know how many like girl groups were showing up that didn't Taylor Swift for their?
My brother lives in Canada, and Taylor doesn't have any shows scheduled for Canada, and I guess Canada's completely up in arms. The whole country is like, why isn't Taylor Swift coming to see us?
I'm sure she
sooner or
will.
later she'll do a Canadian leg, but
She's
Well,
going to
she's doing
Asia.
Well, Europe and I think it's Europe and Asia, because she's doing South America, and then after the first of the year, she's going overseas to I think Europe and Asia.
Yeah, I think she's doing a show in Singapore, and it's already sold out. It's already impossible to get tickets there. I heard the tickets for Singapore were $1,000 a pop. Now, Singapore is a very wealthy country, by the way, just in case you hadn't noticed. But Singapore is very wealthy and a lot of business out of there. It's one of the most expensive countries in the world, much less Asia. It's so much more expensive than it's like being in Las Vegas. That's how expensive it is there.
So I
Crazy.
heard someone tell me that they were in Singapore one time, and that if you're a local resident there, you can't get in that hotel, the 3-tower hotel with the schooner on top.
The Sands,
You're not
The Marina
allowed in there
Sands.
unless you're a tourist.
the Marina Sands, they charge $50 to go up to the top of that. Seeing I had Bo with me, it cost me $100 to go up to the top to take some pictures, but it's pretty impressive view. Is it worth $100? Maybe, you can get $100 worth of publicity from the pictures.
Doesn't it have an infinity pool up there too? The like on the edge, you can see off into it.
Not where we were. I didn't see it.
Yes,
where
it does.
So Jan, how high up is that, Jan?
I have
How high
pictures,
up?
Jan, remember?
Yeah. And I there wasn't a pool where we were when we were on the top. So it must be, but there are three tower legs. So we were probably in the middle tower leg, not on, I guess. I'm not sure how it works. I only know that there was no pool where we were and the restaurant was closed.
And how high up were you then? I mean, like how many floors?
I think 57. I can find out, how high, it wasn't overly high, but there's not a lot of high buildings there.
And you probably could see for miles out of that then, I'm assuming.
See if we could see for miles.
Wasn't that in one of the Bond movies or one of the Mission Impossible movies?
I'm sure it's been in a lot of
jumping off
movies.
the
It's
top of that
it's
thing?
impressive architecture. That's for sure. It is impressive architecture. And the mall underneath it is really impressive. It makes you, no matter how much money you have, I think it's almost intimidating on how expensive that place is. It doesn't matter if, I think that it is just amazingly expensive to be there. They've got all these stores that, like Gucci and Tiffany's and, big name stores like that. Hermes.
Luxury stores.
Yeah, all luxury stores. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and, it's cool. It's not like, in Bangkok, they've got this one mall called Siam Paragon where they have two Rolex stores. Two Rolex stores, one on either side of the aisle. And then they've got a Patek Philippe store, and they've got Tiffany's and Hermes and Yves Saint Laurent and all of these designer stores that are there. And it's crazy nuts. So there's a lot of money in Bangkok as well. But Singapore is off the hook.
So if you want a Rolex, why don't you go sports car racing? Because they give Rolex watches out for the winner of the 24 hours of Daytona and Le Mans and all that stuff. You can get your Rolex and not have to pay for it.
Well, it's a good idea. Okay, so it's 198 meters. It's 57 stories tall. That's what it is. 57 stories tall. And I think the pool is on the other side. So we were on the right side or the left side, and the pool was on the other side. The pool is for the hotel guests.
Oh.
We were not a guest of the hotel.
So guests can walk anywhere, but non-guests can't. Okay.
Yeah, people that paid $50 can't go over there. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's no way. You have to go back down. You have to go back down to get back up. So yeah, you have to buy a card, and there's, it's like it's really almost like an entertainment ride, something like Disneyland. Whereas, where you buy a ticket and then you wait for the elevator and you go through the turnstile, and then you have the snake, they snake you around to the elevator, and then you go up in the elevator. It's very impressive. It's, it's high speed elevator. You feel you feel yourself being catapulted up into space, so I would recommend it. To everybody. Anyway, anybody else have anything that they want to say, maybe regarding something to do with our industry? How would that be? Would that be something we might be able to talk about?
So what's the big deal with throwing stuff on stages? I see Adele made a threat to the fans in Las Vegas this week about that she would get anybody that threw something on the stage at her.
Evidently,
There's been a couple of artists I've seen that had stuff thrown on stage. BB Rexa, Adele, and there's been a couple other ones that had stuff thrown on stage. I don't know what it is nowadays. People are just getting stupid.
Somebody got hit with a cell phone and had to end the show.
Yeah, that was BB Rexa.
Yeah, the guy who did it to BB Rexa, they interviewed him, and he said he did it because it's a TikTok trend. And he wasn't trying to really throw it at her. He was just trying to get good footage on his phone.
I saw some female artist that got hit in the face with something.
Yeah,
that was
they're throwing it on the stage, but it's hitting the artist.
Well, why would they throw their phone on the stage with the fact that they're going to lose it by it being on the stage? That's the end of their phone.
I had somebody throw
That's
their
the idiots
car
who
keys
do
at me.
the
That was a
TikTok
stupid thing.
videos.
It's
Could you do
crazy.
Someone started something on TikTok and thought, hey, this would be cool to throw your phone on stage or do something like this on stage. And all of a sudden it went viral. I mean, then people started doing it.
But how do they get the video back? Because they're not giving them the phone back.
Doesn't it go to cloud? Can they retrieve it from the cloud?
Yeah, they may be using burner phones.
Wow.
Wow.
But then if they're using a burner phone and they're using the cloud, they could track you. They could track that back to that person, couldn't they?
Yeah, I don't see why they're
Yeah.
getting away with it, but it's
Well,
stupid.
The guy had said that, according to the TikTok trend, that that sometimes if a performer sees it, they pick it up and they will record a moment for them on their phone.
Yeah. So he didn't mean to throw it at her. He just wanted to throw it up on the stage.
Yes.
But he hit her. Oh, what a bummer.
He hit her in the face. Her
I see
face
a lot-
was bruised.
I see a lot of artists that they hand him the phone and he does a selfie with him and the person behind him. He's a lot on stage nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a handoff. That's not a throw.
Throw. Yeah.
I've had a lot of water bottles come up on stage.
Did anybody see the footage of Shania Twain falling on stage or slipping and falling?
No, I
Yeah.
remember the good old days when all they would throw at me was tomatoes and eggs. I don't know, but
You had
Don't know
egg
what-
salad?
those were the good old days. Now you gotta be careful, So what can I
Well,
say?
there's a video. There's a video going around. I just saw it the other day. Lainey Wilson was on stage, and this little girl. I think she was like 8 or 9 years old, and she had a poster that said, "My daddy bet me a pony that I could not get on stage with Lainey Wilson." So Lainey Wilson brought her up and said, "Dad, you owe her a pony now." And the little girl was all crying and held up the poster. It was actually, I'm like, well, that guy's gonna have to buy a pony now.
They have it unless she made it up.
He will buy her pony, and it'll be a My Little Pony wrapped in a cute little box.
And there you have it. Well, anybody else have anything they say before we say goodbye to our amazingly strong audience of 354 YouTube subscribers, and we're getting about 40 to 70 views on Facebook. I don't know how many on Twitter, but people are watching this, so I hope you enjoyed yourself from our entertainment. And we'll be back again next week for the 164th show. And you're more than welcome to join us, but you must click the like button. And if you're on the show, you should tag yourself as well, so that other people can see how great you were in this performance of the 163rd Mastermind or our current event show, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, anybody else have anything, or am I going to say goodbye and we'll just stay here and talk amongst ourselves about things we can't talk about live? I think that's it. Say goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye. Remember, you make it happen. Remember to tag yourself if you can. Give us the thumbs up. Subscribe. We're looking for our 355th member now, so you can be the one. So you make it happen. Go out there and do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. Have a happy and a safe week. And I'm looking forward to next week, where we'll have some new things to talk about. Until then, remember, you make it happen. So go out and make it happen.